Hi, everyone. This is the last video for your special education leadership development project, giving you a few tips and things to do along the way that'll make this easier and hopefully less stressful. First thing that you're going to do, you're going to review seminal research related to literacy, whichever direction you've chosen to go. I shared a few ideas with you earlier, but I'm available to chat as well and talk with you if you're having a hard time finding a topic. To be considered a level 4 on your rubric, you must demonstrate skillful use of more than 5 high quality, credible sources to develop ideas around this topic. The articles you select for your topic may not include leadership or special education, but it might be able to move into those realms, and you might be able to find research from general ed or just overall education that you can pull in to implications for special ed. So keep that in mind. You should have a reference page that you start from day one. So anything that you're including in your outline, make sure you're keeping those references on that separate reference page. It'll be much easier when you go to complete the final draft that you have all of that already organized. They should be formatted in APA 7th edition. If you do not have that manual, make sure that you get that. It will be very handy throughout the program as you reference that. You're going to develop an outline. This will help organize your thinking and your literature review. So if you are going to participate in the self-monitoring checks for bonus points, keep in mind that the first check, you should have an outline, you should have a cover page, and your reference page. Those 3 things must be submitted on time for you to earn those extra points. Please also note that when you look at the rubric, the cover page, the outline, and the reference page or pages are not included in the total page count for that document. So please make sure that you check that. And again, use Grammarly and turn it in as much as you would like throughout those revisions so that you can make sure you're submitting something that is your best work. The next step is to write your introduction. So there's a link right there for tips for the introduction. Please keep in mind that all of these links will be really helpful as you go through that process. Just take it step by step. You're going to introduce your issue and explain why it's important to the field of education. You're going to have a thesis statement. It must be established and included in the introduction. There's a tip for writing that there. For purposes of this class, put your thesis statement in bold black print. Okay, so please change that out. It's easier to find when I'm going through to grade it. Again, once the context and the background then are established, you're going to summarize what you're going to discuss. The introduction should be between 2 and 3 pages long. If you are doing the self-checks, please make sure that you turn in your introduction by November 3rd for those possible points. You're then going to write the literature review. Again, there's another link there for tips for the literature review. Make sure that you're following the guidelines within the rubric. You want to keep that focus. Be sure to cite your evidence. And it should constitute most of your paper, so between 6 and 8 pages. Again, there's another monitoring check if you want to submit it at that time. I think this part, it'll be really important for Turnitin to be giving you some feedback to make sure you've cited things correctly, that there's not anything with plagiarism that could be an issue when you go to do your final draft. Lastly, you will write the conclusion. Again, there's another link, tips for your conclusion. Please review that. This is going to be your, so now what? You've reviewed what everything says. You've talked about some of the implications of that. This is where you create the plan. So this is really the meat of it, of why your readers want to read your paper. How is this impacting our school system? How is it impacting students with disabilities? How is it impacting their family? And why should we pay attention to this as an issue? So this is going to be another 2 to 3 pages. Progress check number 4 is where you can turn this in to get those bonus points by November 17th. Use Grammarly, use Turnitin tools to make sure that you have your best product. And then finally, your final assignment is due Sunday, November 26th. Please keep in mind, as you're doing those self-checks, I am not looking at that or giving feedback. So it is up to you to take the feedback from Grammarly, to go through the reports from Turnitin to make sure that you have everything in order with that. It's also your responsibility to check your paper against the rubric before turning it in. I'm going to be using that consistently to grade assignments throughout the course and to grade this assignment specifically. So please make sure that you have compared your paper to the rubric, go through a little self-grade yourself, and make any corrections before turning that in on Sunday, November 26th. Please also make sure you're following any guidelines for the use of AI. Just a reminder, if you use AI for any steps in that process, you'll be submitting those as a PDF as a separate submission from your final paper. And your exit interview or your oral defense of 15 minutes at the end of the course will focus on your specific literacy topic that you've researched and come up with recommendations for. So please know I'm going to be asking you questions about that. Have a good understanding of this as we move into that process. If you have any questions, if you have any needs throughout this process, please let me know. I will be so happy to help.